Hello, welcome to another Gundam version 2 video, and welcome to another Buffed or Scuffed. If you guys aren't familiar with this series, basically I take a look at suits that have been buffed due to the unit adjustments that happen every end of the month that the devs will do. Unless in special circumstances, it might be the next month after that. But yeah, the Moon Gundam here. Actually, before I start, I do want to apologize because I am not really good at playing Moon Gundam. There's a few situations where I kind of pop off, but for the most part, I really do want to apologize, especially to the team for either the first or second match, the one on the new map, because that was some truly atrocious play there, and I do apologize for that. But we kind of do sort of make up for it, I guess, in some of the other gameplay aspects of it. So just keep in mind, I'm not too good at playing Moon Gundam, but that doesn't mean I can't think about if it's good or not, comparing it to how other people play it, how they told me they played it, how other gameplay I've seen of the suit, and comparing it to the matches I've had where maybe I was fighting a Moon Gundam in a different 700 suit. I can still say if a suit is buffed or not, depending on how I'm looking at it from not just myself, but other people as well. And of course, I'll also ask other people if they feel like it's been buffed or not. And yeah, the Moon Gundam here, it is a 700 general. It is a pretty close range general. It's really interesting in the fact that it, compared to other 700 suits, it doesn't seem like it has a whole lot going for it. You have a beam rifle, you have melee, you have Vulcans, and then you have two forms of I'm gonna call them funnels, but psycho plates, right? New type stuff going on now, or lock on really. Now the Moon Gundam's primary, you can either use a shotgun-like weapon that you can charge up for a instant stun, or you can swap it out for the, I'm going to call it the Sazabi's beam rifle, but it is the Moon Gundam's long rifle. I should probably call it that instead. But that's just a instant stun weapon. You can charge up to do more damage, I believe. And it was funny enough, the Sazabi can use that. I mean, it is its weapon originally, but I guess it's Moon Gundams now, but that makes it a lot easier for you to stun somebody with the Moon Gundam itself. The regular primary weapon is really good for maneuver armor, but it can be kind of sketchy with its firing pattern. It feels a little bit inaccurate unless you're really up close to somebody, and it's pretty good against maneuver armor suits. But of course, at 700 there are some damage control units, a lot of them, so it's probably not the best weapon at the moment. But yeah, you also have the butterfly edges, which is a really great weapon where you could, basically it's a melee weapon that you can use at range. And this was really good at countering suits with maneuver armor because, well, maneuver armor gets stopped by melee. So if this weapon counts as a melee attack, well, hey, they'll get stunned, and you can follow up for your melee, or your regular melee, or whatever else you want to do. And of course, the shining feature of the Moon Gundam are the psycho plates. Now, the regular psycho plates, the lock-on psycho plates, they're kind of they're really good for comboing, but if you're using them by themselves, I think they're not the best. First of all, you have to lock on, and then they'll take a second or two to set up, where they'll come off your back and they'll float above you, and then they'll start going one at a time. It's not like the Phoenixes, where the Phoenix is shoulder binders, I guess we'll call those, will surround you, and it'll even kind of follow you for a little bit to try and attack you. No, the psycho plates will stay in place, and they'll attack one at a time from right to left. There are a few psycho plates, and so they'll go on for a little bit, and then of course each one does I believe 1,000 damage each, and if somebody gets hit by all those, it is pretty good at doing that, doing some damage. In fact, a really easy combo you can do with this suit is downswing somebody, and because these psycho plates can lock on really fast and you can use them while boosting, you can downswing somebody, boost backwards, send out your psycho plates, and go in for another downswing, and you can almost one combo raids from just that alone, right? But if you're using them by themselves, they're not really particularly good, unless you want to make somebody just move out of the way, right? So I guess there's that. I believe they can also go through teammates, so if somebody is attacking somebody and you want to help support them from a distance, you can send those out, and then you can go in for whatever else you want to throw out, right? And then finally, I should also mention this thing has Vulcans. I think I already did, but yeah, just in case it has Vulcans. And finally, you also have the Psycho Plate shields, which is similar to the New Gundam's beam shield that it has. However, the New Gundam's beam shield does not block melee attacks. You can walk up to a New Gundam and just melee him. However, with this suit, the Moon Gundam, it can actually block melee attacks, which is very, very interesting. Basically, you can activate that and then run into a heavy attack, and it'll block that. I think it might work on heavy attacks. If not, you at least walk up to a raid that's meleeing, right? And then you can just counter melee them or tackle them or whatever else you want to do, right? So that's an option, and of course it also blocks a bunch of range damage as well. It does work pretty interestingly where it continues blocking based on how fast it's getting hit. There's been a few moments to counter the Moon Gundam. I'll usually pick a suit and it has like some kind of rapid fire attack like a Vulcans or machine guns. I'll shoot it a few times and then I'll pause, and usually maybe one more time, and then the shield will go away, right? But if you keep shooting it and shooting it and shooting it, it'll stay up, it'll stay up, it'll stay up, and it'll melee you or something like that, right? So the Moon Gundam overall worked really well in close quarters combat. It is not just a suit you only range with. Although there's a few situations where if you don't want to, if you have like a suit with multiple melee going in, you don't want to interrupt them, well, hey, you got at least something to send out there, right? However, the Moon Gundam was a suit that has been heavily affected by the incoming Unicorn units. And this is because the Unicorn units, when they came out, they had the NTD jamming ability, or I should say NTD, which will jam new type weapons like funnels or the psychoplates, right? Now, the Moon Gundam, a lot of its damage output and a lot of its approaches can be helped with those psychoplates. However, with those gone, now you're just stripped of that. Now you just have a beam rifle that may or may not stun, a melee weapon that's long, but not as long as the Zombies or the Double Zetas, and Vulcans. So yeah, it struggled a lot compared to the Unicorn, which the Unicorn had double melee attacks. It had all those defense stuff going on with its shield and all that good stuff. And then NTD mode that can activate perhaps twice in a row, depending on how long you live. That can give you 2 chances to defy the odds, to say, right? So the Moon Gundam was definitely very, very much struggling, enough to where I don't want to say it was almost a throw pick, but a lot of people did consider it a throw pick. If you were playing Arctic Base, the enemy team has like 4 Unicorn units, and you have a Moon Gundam. The Moon Gundam is essentially almost useless depending on how the enemy team spaces out their NTDs. Now, the Unicorn units have been buffed to where the NTD, it jams the new type weapons. It jams them, I believe it used to be 30 seconds, or maybe 20. They nerfed that to, it's less than that now. And so technically the Moon Gundam was inadvertently buffed because of that. However, they actually just straight up buffed the Moon Gundam now. So we'll go ahead and go over what they buffed up with the Moon Gundam. Now, I'm going to go ahead and list off the win rate for the Moon Gundam first, just to tell you, or I guess show you, how much this thing has been affected by the Unicorn Gundam. Now, the average win rate for a general at 700 is 49.0. The Moon Gundam has a win rate of 42.4. So think about that. Yeah, at 700, its only cost is dropped down that low, almost to 40%. So yeah, definitely need a buff there. And we look at the rival win rate. The rival win rate for a suit was, for a general I should say, is 49.7. This suit had a 38.6% chance to, I guess a chance, I should say just 38.6 rival win rate. And the damage dealt for this suit, the typical average was 83,000. This suit had a 71,000. So yeah, the Moon Gundam was in definite needs of help here. So what exactly did they buff about this suit? So let's go over that. Now, the Moon Gundam, starting off, they actually gave this a new skill, which is called Psychoplate Resonance Level 1. I'm going to go ahead and go over that near the end of this video here. Or should say the last thing I'll go over. So we're going to go ahead and move on to the next thing here. They actually buffed the head-mounted Vulcan ×2. So the fire range has been increased from 180 meters to 225. It stuns in 17 hits now, which is pretty typical nowadays for a lot of Vulcans to stun. I believe that was the same for the Gap Flea. However, I believe for I guess the GPO units as well. For this suit, it doesn't. I don't think the Vulcans are as fast as the GPO2 Vulcans or whatnot. So it's not. And again, there's a lot of damage control units and maneuver armor suits at this cost, to where I should say maybe maneuver armor level 2, where it's not. That's not going to be enough, really. It's nice to have. You can combine that, if you're using it by itself, I should say. Combining with other weapons, it does kind of help out, so I guess I'll give it that. Which I think I mentioned, yeah, the stagger accumulation value was enhanced as well, so there's that. The Psycho Plates launch was also buffed. The stagger accumulation was just enhanced on this. I mean, of course, they wouldn't buff the damage. The damage is actually quite insane if you can hit all of these. However, it didn't have that great stun accumulation, so they increased that to where I believe if you hit 3 of the Psycho Plates, they will stun, which is pretty nice if they do hit. If you're just doing it by itself, right? There's potential to where you can just send out the Psycho Plates in either a small corridor or somewhere to where the enemy team is not going to be able to move that much. I say enemy team, any enemy you're fighting on, you're locked onto. You can also add in your Vulcans there to boost in and use that, and perhaps get a stun. So it does help out that it does have a little bit more stun accumulation, along with having that high damage. And I forgot to mention, I believe the Psycho Plates, they also have a really quick overheat time. Whatever they get out of overheat, it's really fast. You can use these pretty much constantly. So that's pretty nice to have. Now, next thing they buffed here is the MG High Performance Counter Program. The health points, instead of being at 30% for that to activate, it's now at 50%, which is quite nice. I actually enjoy that. I want every suit that has biosensor to be somewhere up there now. 30% is really low for a cost like 700, where that can get rid of, that can be gone really quick. So I think I prefer it to be at 50% for a lot of suits. Now, the Psycho Plate Resonance Level 1. Let me go over what that does. I'm going to pull up the other tab I have for this, because they have another page explaining it. Now, the Psycho Plate Resonance skill on the Moon Gundam. It activates when the Moon Gundam reaches 50% HP or below. So along with the counter program, it will activate. And what this does, it boosts your agility, your attack power. So I'm guessing agility means movement speed. It also buffs your attack power, and it slightly improves your melee ability. And what I imagine what they mean by this is that it increases your melee priority. I believe that is confirmed. It goes from 2 to 3 now. Of course, with that attack power is really nice. They will also let you to not be affected by the NTD mode that the unicorns have when this is active. So if you're at 50% HP and you're fighting Unicorn, Unicorn activates NTD, well, it looks like you don't get affected, which is actually significantly, it has a pretty significant buff alone just for the Moon Gundam to have. However, this does require you to be at 50% health. If you are fighting a full health Unicorn, you're full health, and you're just absolutely shitting on the Unicorn, he activates NTD, well, tough shit. So, and finally, when it does activate, it does the typical biosensor thing to where it nullifies all reactions except for knockback due to accumulation stun, only at the point of skill activation. So basically, if you're at 50% health, or you're going to be at 50% health, somebody downswings you, you can tank that and then just do whatever else you want, right? Doesn't work on stun accumulation though. So yeah, that's literally all they buffed about the Moon Gundam. So I guess the question is the Moon Gundam buffed or is it scuffed? Now, the Psycho Plate Resonance skill is actually like a legitimate, just really amazing skill for this suit to have, because it actually just straight up counters the Unicorn units, the NTD, which is what the Moon Gundam was. It's what it needed. It was getting really, really, really shit on by the Unicorn units because it was very, it was very limited because of that skill. Where, hey, well, now you just have either a really shotgun, or you have a basic stunning rifle, and then Vulcans and melee. That's it. Where the Unicorn would just absolutely shit on you because of everything it has compared to the Moon Gundam. Well, now that works to where now, okay, well, now I can have my Psycho Plates ready to use, and my shield. The shield can be really good for stopping the Unicorn coming in for its typical Unicorn combo, or Banshee, or Phoenix even. So pretty nice skill. However, it only works at 50%. So again, like I said, if you're at full health fighting Unicorn and you're dumping on the Unicorn, he can just activate in TD mode anyway. The Psycho Plate stun accumulation is fine, along with the Vulcans. I'm glad the Vulcans did get that increase to stun accumulation, but the Psycho Plates, not a lot of people really use them standing up unless it's in a situation to where maybe enemies already fighting the person that they're targeting, or from what I've seen, or they're going for the downswing combo I mentioned earlier. Downswing, lock on, downswing, which can net you pretty amazing damage, right? Almost one combo raids. So I guess it's nice to have, right? It's not a bad thing. It's nice to have that to where in case they do hit, if you're using them by themselves, or well, I guess you can combine them with other weapons, it will get you a stun that way. So that's pretty nice. And of course, you know, just the counter program thing. It activates 50% health. Cool, I guess. So, in terms of buffed or scuffed, I'm going to say it's definitely buffed, but not for the reasons you may be thinking. Now, if this was still the early Unicorn 700 or the past Unicorn 700 matches where the entire team could be comprised of Unicorn suits, I should say pre-nerfed Unicorns, right? I think the suit would still be scuffed, to be honest. It's just the Unicorn Gundam just has so much over the Moon Gundam. Now, however, because of the buffs at 700 around and including the Moon Gundam, I think the Moon Gundam is now buffed. And what I mean by that is if you look at this week's, or say this month's unit adjustments, the O was buffed, and I actually been doing quite well with the O at 700. The Silver Bullet was buffed even. A lot of 650 suits that go into 700 were buffed. And I believe even the Mark V was buffed as well. Basically, suits that can go to 700, along with the Unicorn Gundam and just Unicorn units in general, just their NTD being nerfed, these suits have been buffed. And nowadays, you can actually have a match that may or may not even have a Unicorn or a Phoenix or a Banshee in it. So, yeah, I think the Moon Gundam is definitely buffed, but because of stuff going on around it. And of course, you know, with just the Moon Gundam's ability to have that NTD negation ability, I mean, even if there is a Unicorn Gundam in a match, it's still going to be fine to handle if there's just one or two in a match. So yeah, I think the Moon Gundam is definitely buffed. And I think that's going to be it in this video. If you guys enjoyed this video, leave a like, subscribe if you want, I'd really appreciate it. And, you know, type up in the comment section how you feel about the Moon Gundam. Do you like it? Do you hate it? And for me, I'm not too big on the Moon Gundam for me to play it. I've seen a lot of great videos of people playing it. I know, I think one of our friends, James, really liked the Moon Gundam. And I think there's some other players out there on the GBO2 YouTuber side that really enjoy playing the Moon Gundam. I'm not sure about it around Unicorn times. I think that's when everyone's like, yeah, this thing needs a buff, so glad they buffed it. For those players specifically, you know, they're probably really happy about it. They get to play Moon Gundam again. There's this one guy I keep running into in raiding who keeps playing Moon Gundam, and he kept getting shit on. I felt bad for him, but he never gave up, you know. And good for him, because now his suit got buffed, and he can continue Moon Gundaming around, right? So, and yeah. Glad it got buffed. We need a little bit more. I say a little bit more. I think we should probably start looking at some other suits that go to 700 to get buffed, because it was almost like every 650 suit except for the Rebavu was getting shit on by the 700 suits. Well, I say that. Well, yeah. O definitely needed a buff even before the Unicorn was out at 700. So yeah, again, buffed or scuffed, the Moon Gundam is buffed. But if this was pre-nerf Unicorn times, then the Moon Gundam, I think, would still be scuffed. And yeah, I hope you guys noticed that I've also done this video a little bit differently. I actually recorded this before I started adding video to it. So if you notice, I haven't been talking about what's been happening in the match or not. So if you guys enjoyed that too, let me know. And yeah, that'll be it, and I will see you guys later. Bye.